So one of the things that I sometimes hear about is body count. And this is a bigger issue for women than it is for men. So like, for example, a guy doesn't want a woman who has a high body count, which means she slept, what's your body count? Slept with 10 guys, 20 guys, 30 guys. But yet that same guy who doesn't want the woman to have a high body count himself isn't concerned about the fact that he is sleeping around himself. Why do we think that this double standard exists? Like, why is it that the guys are not, men don't seem to be as concerned about themselves sleeping around as they are about the women that they are with sleeping around?
Yeah, I mean, again, it goes back to men being praised from the time they're little boys of conquering the female sex. Really, honestly, it happens so young. Ooh, you got a girlfriend? Ooh, she's pretty. Good job. That kind of thing. And whereas girls are, they get that from their girlfriends, but they're not praised near as much. And they're certainly not praised for sleeping around. They're tramps when they sleep around, whereas a guy is a stud, right? A stud is a positive. Yes. Tramp and slut, those are not positive words. But they're applying to the same truth in both sexes. Follow me? So they shouldn't be, it's completely double standard and it's completely wrong. But I'm not, I don't know how to explain it. I mean, some of it goes back to Genesis 3 in my heart, and the man will lord over you, but you shall, it's like, that wasn't a curse, by the way. He was pronouncing what would happen because we're idiots. Okay, God was saying, because you have went this way, because you have taken me out of the center of your lives, these are the kind of things that are going to happen. Men are going to lord it over women, and women are going to be submissive in the wrong way. We should submit to one another in love, is what Christ says. Submit to one another in love. That's what Scripture says. We have this men lording it over women and thinking that's good. I think it goes back way deep into our primordial past of how we twisted what it meant to be human, right? And it goes deep. So I'm not sure I have all the answers to that one. Paul might be able to speak to it more because of his experience seeing it happen in clientele, in client situations. But
no, I think it still goes back to culture. I think we've been cultured to just like you said earlier, we've been cultured to feel like men need to conquer women and women need to preserve themselves. So there seems to be no honor for a man who preserves themselves, whereas it's honorable for a woman to preserve herself, her body. So the more a man conquers, the more they're respected, and the reverse is true. I think it's even globally, at least if you move backwards, let's say 200 years, something years back, I feel like they've always valued virginity of a woman, where you find that at all marriage ceremonies, they would try to taste if the woman is a virgin, so they would pay more bride price, something like that. So, I think it's not just an African thing, probably it extends to Asia and all the different places way back. So virginity has always been a woman thing, not a man thing. So I think it's more ingrained in our traditions, and which were pretty much more patriarchal than these days. Much as a lot of work has been done to expose us and for us to look at life and the world differently, it's still strongly there. Men have to still conquer the females, whereas the females have to make sure they preserve themselves. So it's still something deep in our norms or tradition, how we look at life, basically.
I would say our anthropology, how we feel, is woefully inadequate. Woefully inadequate. And I'm stealing that phrase from somebody else, but we have an adequate anthropology of what it means to be male and female, and that we're meant to be a gift to one another, not to take. We can receive it reciprocally. That's not the same as grasping. Not the same. And men think it's okay to grasp and take whatever they want, whenever they want. And women are a lot more, in my opinion, sensitive to it. They raise children, they're more sensitive to these things, and they aren't as graspy, unless they become sex addicts, and they can get graspy, of course. But and it's not, it isn't helpful, that we think it's okay to grasp and take, right? It's not, that's not good. So.
All right. Do we have any other topics or questions to ask or things we'd like to discuss?
I'm looking back through the questions here or the topics I put out, but I think we covered a lot of it. Signs of hope, behaviors, SNL skits. Yeah. There's just to me, it's hopeful to see, well, I know one last thing. Paul, you were talking about how it can change, if you have one addiction, it can change the chemistry of your brain. I'm living witness. This is true, right? Because addictions definitely come in 2s and 3s and sometimes 4s. But there's also an aspect in which an addiction is nothing more than creating an idol in one's life, right? That's really what an addiction is. I've made something higher than God, something that, I say God's the highest, but in actuality, when I want comfort and stimulation, I go to my addiction. I go to my drug of choice. And I've made that an idol. Okay, I've made that more important than God or alongside of God, which God says no to, right? So I think what I've heard from the pulpit a couple times is, you're all addicts. Every one of you sitting here, you're addicted to sin. As our pastor has said. And so, because we all are at our core in our broken nature. This is not human nature. This is our broken, fallen human nature. That we can make an idol out of everything, anything, you name it. I mean, we can make an idol. There's Video Games Anonymous. Did you know that? There's that. You can make an idol out of anything. So he was just pointing out the fact that we all have our little addictions with a small a. Some of us get the chemical dependency, like Paul was talking about, where your brain's actually altered. And then you have to allow God to transform your mind, right? To heal and transform our minds to a degree. So I just wanted to bring that up, that we have pastors out there that are preaching the truth that in a small a addiction, we can all be addicts. So
you remind me of a song. I'm trying to think. It was probably released in the 1980s by the 77s. That one of the lines was, "And if a person, place, or thing can deliver, I will quiver with delight." Whatever it is.
Great song. Yeah, the lust, the flesh, the pride, and the eyes and the pride of life.
Lust, the flesh, the eyes, and the pride of life.
Yeah.
Is that the name of the song?
Yeah, the lust, the flesh, the eyes, and the
pride of life.
Bring the life right out of me.
Yeah.
Great song. But yeah, sometimes the best songs are sang in persona of a very crass or a person we would think is a monster, but you see the writer was singing in that persona so that we can see that persona is just struggling as a human and trying to, and that's, yeah. But we all struggle with these things. So, yeah.